Okay. So my name is Lars Laestadius. I'm with the World Resources Institute as a senior associate, Swedish forester by background with a PhD in industrial forest harvesting.
I think one of the things that ties everybody here together at the Wood at Work conference is some sort of history or passion for wood or trees or forests. And so what brings you here? Why forests, why wood, why trees? Or why one of the three?
I believe in wood as the most democratic material I know. And democratic in the sense that when children make tree houses, they work with wood. Everybody knows how to work with wood. Before the Stone Age, we had the Wood Age, but architects or archaeologists don't know the Wood Age because the wood disintegrated, because it decomposes organically, naturally. But we had the Wood Age before we had the Stone Age. Wood is the most democratic material what we have. It's the most natural material, it's the lightweight material, it's a strong material, it's a beautiful material. And we as people relate very possibly to trees and to wood. I think we sense intuitively that it is nature, and it makes us calm. And I sense that there is a great potential to use wood in a more modern and more intelligent way that we have done so far. And this is the reason I very much wanted to come to this conference.
That's lovely. So when we're thinking about wood today in both design and in sourcing, what is your vision for how we can bring our sourcing systems back to that more democratic, personal level that you talked about?
So there was a point in time back in the good old days that if you wanted to construct something locally, you went to the local carpenter or workman, and you went out into the forest and you found that tree that you needed and you brought it in, and you knew exactly where the wood was coming from, and you knew who was processing it, and it came to your farm or whatever. And then what happened was that this supply chain became enormously extended and it became impersonal, and you had no idea where the wood was coming from, and it became commoditized. And with new information technology, we ought to be able to bridge that gap between the remote origin of the supply chain and where the consumer is, and sort of bring the wood back to the point where the source of wood is actually the intimacy between the supplier and the consumer, which we have lost because of this mass production technical development. If we can bring the intimacy back so that we know again where the wood is coming from, and the customer can relate directly to whether the origin is good or bad or whatever, I believe that new technology, if we use it properly, has the potential to help us do that.
Are there any new technologies in particular that you're thinking of?
Well, the information technology, because what's happening when the supply chain becomes remote is that information is lost along the way. The product goes all the way from the source forest far away to the customer, but the information about that origin of the project and what's happened to the project is not following the project itself, unless we can make it so. And I think that we can make it so using modern information and communications technology appropriately. So certification is a somewhat primitive attempt to do that. Exactly, to have information about the origin, good or bad, follow the project to the consumer, and the consumer gets this label that helps him or her to say that this is good or this is bad. But I think that there are, with proper use of modern technology, there should be better ways that we can do that.
Wow. And where do you see the future of wood use going? I mean, you have a long history of studying forest policy and global forest policy, and it's been a rocky road. Where do you think we're heading in the next few decades?
So I think, or I hope that we are heading toward a sort of a renaissance for wood, but in a modern fashion. That wood can be seen, because it is so democratic, because it is so simple and so natural. People tend to look down upon wood, exactly because it has those nice positive qualities. And what we need to do, what I think will happen, is for wood to redefine itself as a knowledge-intensive, modern material for the future, building exactly on this naturalness, the simplicity, the beauty, and the democracy of wood. That everybody can relate to it, but it needs to come back in a modern sense, and we have to help it do that. But I think the potential is there, and we can make it so.
That's great. So final question, and I'll let you get back to the reception. But did you grow up working with wood or using wood?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I did grow up, however, spending time in the forest. My parents always brought me out into the forest just because, what they now call biophilia, I suppose, but because the forest was a nice place to be. And as a child, I liked to be in the forest. We have a lot of forest in Sweden where I grew up, and I still like that. But I grew up then with this intuitive feeling of just liking the forest, wanting to be in the forest. I've given that to my children, I hope, as well, and I like the forest.
That's great.
As simple as that.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.